Every butterfly I drew as a kid never quite looked the way I wanted, until I learned this simple 3-step method. Let me show you how easy it actually is. So let's get started. The first thing we're doing after outlining the basic shape of the butterfly is adding a base layer. And for that, you can use a 3B pencil and slowly build graphite on the upper part of the wing. Keep your pressure low and your pencil angle even lower so the wing looks soft instead of scratched up. Think of it like applying moisturizer. If you rub it in too aggressively, it's not skincare, it's exfoliating your soul. You can see that over a few spots, I'm adding more graphite for extra 3D depth. Now for the lower wing, reduce the pressure even more, so it looks airy and light, almost like it's catching soft light from behind. Once the base is ready, blend it using a dry brush. Use tiny circular motions with super gentle pressure. High pressure pushes the graphite deep into the tooth of the paper, which creates patchiness. And then you spend the next 10 minutes wondering why the paper hates you. So always use gentle pressure only. After blending, the outlines might fade, which is totally normal. So you can go over them again with an 8B pencil, keeping the pressure high for the outlines and switching between low and high angles for shading and adding thin sharp lines. This darker band along the edge has little curved texture strokes, so carefully add them with higher pressure. Notice that one stroke goes in the center to divide the wings. And of course, for the butterfly body, use the same 8B but vary your pressure. Press a bit harder for depth and keep it lighter for soft fuzziness. Many beginners make this mistake of pressing too hard during the base layer, which creates the scratches. If you encounter this, don't worry. You can go over them gently with a blending brush or lightly shade on top with a softer pencil. And if you don't have a dry brush, use a soft makeup brush or even clean tissue wrapped around your finger to achieve similar smooth results. By the way, if you're a complete beginner and you keep throwing away your drawings because you feel like you just can't draw, it's not your fault. You just don't know the basics yet. And that's exactly why I made this full course, to help you go from shaky lines to realistic drawings step by step. It covers everything from basic lessons to advanced techniques, tips and tricks, all structured in a clear step-by-step format, so you don't have to guess your way through it. Thousands of students are already learning and growing through the course, and I put my course on sale for 5 days every month just for my YouTube family. Check the link in the description or comments to see if the sale is live right now, and get enrolled before it ends. Now let's move on to the second step, which is adding highlights. I'm sharpening my electric eraser using a scraper. If you don't have a scraper, use sandpaper or a masking tape. And if you don't have either of them, honestly, your genes work in emergencies. Art life. With the sharpened eraser, add tiny dots and shapes on the upper wing. They may look thick right now, but don't panic. We will shape them later. Then pick up your 8B pencil and carve around the edges of each highlight. This gives you control and instantly makes them crisp and polished. For the lower wing, use a mono zero eraser to add more curved highlights. If you don't have a mono zero eraser, don't worry at all. You can simply take any regular eraser from your pencil box and cut one of its edges into a thin, sharp tip using a cutter. It works surprisingly well and gives you almost the same control for these tiny highlights. Also, you can copy the reference or improvise your own pattern because this part is actually a great way to find your own style. Just keep the highlights random and irregular, as the perfect spacing makes the wing look like it was designed in Microsoft Excel. You can sharpen these highlights again with a 3B pencil to make them slimmer and even sharper. Now this is where the tiny shapes inside the wing finally come to life. Grab your mono zero again and shape it into a small rounded tip, as we want these shapes to be bright at the bottom and dark at the top. So press harder at the bottom and slowly reduce pressure as you move upward. It creates that smooth bright to dark gradient every single time. Carefully repeat this for all the shapes. Beginners should really practice this step because pressure control is literally the gym workout of drawing. You get stronger with repetition. And if anything looks dull or flat, never hesitate to touch it up with your required grade of pencil. Beginners often make this step of using the same pressure throughout the shape. Fix is simple. Think of it like dimming a light, keeping the full brightness at the bottom and slowly dimming as you go up. Now comes the third step, which is adding the final tiny details and cleaning everything up. Grab your electric eraser and tap tiny random dots on the butterfly body. Don't overthink the size, we'll refine it later. Just make sure the eraser tip is sharp so the highlights stay bright. Now gently go around these dots to make them sleeker and sharper. If some highlights look dull, you can use a jelly roll pen and brighten a few for that shiny pop. The nice thing about a jelly roll pen is that it sits on top of the graphite, so it gives you that crisp, bright highlight without muddying the shading underneath. Just make sure the tip is clean and use tiny controlled taps instead of long strokes, because long strokes can look too artificial on textures like wings. And if you don't have a jelly roll pen, no problem at all. You can use a regular white corrector pen from your school stationery box. It gives a very similar effect and is honestly one of the easiest budget-friendly ways to add bright highlights in your drawings. Finally, it's time to clean up the edges. And you can use any sharp eraser tip to clean the outlines and switch to a bigger eraser to remove grid lines. And yes, the small details like antennas and legs almost always fade during this step. And they did here too, so darken them again with your B pencil. And just like that, our butterfly is complete. If yours doesn't look perfect right now, trust me, that's completely normal. Keep practicing these steps and you'll see the difference. Also, I just launched the AHR Studios Academy. So if you're an absolute beginner and want to learn drawing from scratch, you can join my course here for 90% off. So thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.